Welcome, gamers, to this week's episode of Last Call Gaming. We're on episode number 204. Today, if you cannot tell, is October 31st, Halloween, the first episode we've been back. We took I don't want to say a much-needed break, but we were off for a little bit. We're back on. I think it's a really good time to come back in our nice, pretty cool outfits.
Dotson! We got Dotson here! See, Craig, no one cares.
no one cares. So thank you guys for joining us, and now that we're back, episode should continue as normal. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. If you guys are interested in following us on social media, you can follow our Linktree link in the description that has all of our spots that we're at. And if you guys are listening to the audio-only version of this podcast, find us on your podcast platform of choice.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Have you had a good Halloween? Well, now that before we get into our topics, now that Halloween's done, did you watch all the Halloween movies you wanted to? Did you play all the spooky games you wanted to? I mean, you're winning first place in Halloween contest. What can't you do?
No, I feel like this was, for whatever actually, I'll tell you why after the show. Remind me to tell you. This was like the least Halloween for me, where I watched like the least amount of horror movies, the least amount of whatever. Because last year I actually did the full 31 where you watch like a different scary movie or just something adjacent like every single day. And this year I only watched like a couple. But I also did, we hadn't mentioned it before, for those of you in the know, there's a big festival in Vegas called When We Were Young. It's a big music festival, and this year's like top headliners were like My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, lots of other really big bands. I ended up going to that for like 2 days. So
nice, yeah. Because I usually don't watch a bunch, and I feel this Halloween I actually watched more.
I feel like you took over for me. My spirit flowed into you.
I watched a bunch of stuff that I never would have saw, and we'll get into a couple of that in a minute, guys. So before we get into our main topics, we like to what are you up to? When Andrew and I take a second, talk about what we've been playing, what we've been watching. So Andrew, what have you watched? Because a nice throwback, if you guys get a chance to watch our other video, Andrew and I just did a top 3 Halloween movies that you should watch. And on that episode, Andrew wanted me to watch one of his, and I wanted him to watch one of mine, and we both kind of did that. So
yeah, I just finished it last night. I just watched The Monster Squad. It was actually pretty cool. Honestly, I feel like, I don't want to say like I was kind of dreading it, because the one quote you always say is like, Wolfman's got nards, and out of context I'm like, it sounds stupid.
Is it not the best part? He gets kicked in the dick.
But actually no, for me, whatever reason, spoiler alert for this really old movie,
1987,
is I just wasn't expecting the Black Lagoon monster to like die from a shotgun pump to like the chest. But no, my favorite part is like, hey, and I'm over here and we're watching Fat Kid. What are you, Fat Kid?
Fat Kid is stopping traffic. You can't move back. Can't you stop eating?
Yeah. And I'm just like, what is this? Like, either way, it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It was actually really good. I could understand maybe at the time I think the funniest thing for me, and where I really thought this movie, I was like, dude, this movie's going to be shit. And I don't know if you've ever noticed this, is at the beginning, it shows like Dracula's castle. He's like waking up out of his coffin, but they have like fake bats and stuff like that. They don't have it. I don't know why. There's supposed to be rats crawling on the ground. Have you ever noticed that it is not rats?
No.
It's fucking armadillos.
Oh, no, yeah, okay, I do. That is so funny, because I forgot about it as a kid, but when we watched it the other day, that big-ass armadillo walks in the beginning, and I was like, huh. Yeah, I did notice that, yeah, and I was like, why is this thing here?
And I was like, they couldn't afford rats if they have armadillos? How does that make financial sense unless Dracula's in Texas? So I'm like, alright, that was the first thing I'm like, dude, this movie's gonna be off the fucking, it's already gonna be bad now. But it was actually really cool, I really enjoyed it. I kind of would almost akin to put it to something like, obviously not as high up there, but kind of like the Goonies.
Yeah, like it has Goonies vibes, right? I think I said that in the episode too. I'm like, it has like a Stand By Me kind of Goonies kind of feel to it.
I enjoyed it enough to where I think that is a movie.
Sandlot kind of.
Sandlot kind of, that deserves like a remake. And I would say too, especially because that movie, I wasn't expecting it, even though it's PG-13. PG-13 back then is way different than it is now. That movie is like, I don't want to say graphic, but pretty pushing the edge of what 13 was then compared to what it should be now. So I think you could do something almost like what's that big Stranger Things or something like that. This would be like especially with the success of that. I think something like this would be perfect, especially if they're trying to reboot the whole like Universal monsters. Instead of doing something like, let's just do something like this that's fun, but we can make it really dark too at the same time.
It has all the iconic monsters already imprinted in it and things
so
like that.
I really liked it a lot. So I would definitely say if you haven't watched it, it definitely was worth it. I don't know that it's something that I would put on for like fun or something, But if it was on like TV or whatever, I'd for sure would just like leave it and be doing, do whatever. It's perfect background for me.
Excellent.
And then as far as playing, I wanted to bring it up because I did beat it before I started my other game, is GoldenEye. Now, I don't remember at the time when this had came out, because I think it was originally in Rare Replay, but it wasn't the same version that came out, I think, in like 2020 that was also on Nintendo. That's on the Switch that you can actually play online. This one you can't play online on Xbox.
Is it on the Rare Replay? I know Perfect Dark was.
I think that's how like it launches through it or something like that. But I don't remember it originally feeling as good to play or having a full list of achievements, because this one has like a full list of achievements for beating each level, beating on these difficulties, beating it in under this time. Multiplayer achievements just for like playing local or whatever. And for me, I was just kind of looking for like a game, like I just need something that's like a breath of fresh air. And it was so good to go back and play this, because I had started it. I think I'd made it to like the second level and I just put it down. Going back, I had so much fun playing it. Not to mention, you cruise through it. So I did it on, I didn't want to do it on 00, because 00 is hard, especially in some of the later levels. I was kind of trying them. I was like, all right, I'm just going to do it all on Secret Agent then. So Secret Agent was challenge enough for me to where I'm not just cruising through. And then I had to, the thing that's annoying is the achievements don't stack for beating it on Agent, Secret Agent, 00 Agent. Man. So I beat it on Secret Agent. Then I went through and did it on regular Agent, but it's just so easy to run through. I think I beat it in like 30 minutes. Just streamlined
the whole game?
Yeah, especially because I had just done it on Secret Agent, so I knew where all the ins and outs, and I kind of remembered where everything was. Then just going through on regular Agent, I'm not waiting for nobody, dude. I'm just smashing everybody. No stealth, no nothing. I'm just killing everybody.
Excelente.
And then the big game I'm playing right now, and I'm probably going to be playing for a bit, is Metaphor ReFantasio. And that's kind of why I didn't get any spooky games in. Is because I started this when it came out, and I just fell in love with this game. I was not expecting to. It's my first Atlas game. I'm not really interested in Persona. This one I was interested in because it's more fantasy-like, and it's so good. I'm absolutely head over heels for this thing. I can't put it down. I have been busy, so I'm only like 20 hours in, but even if it does, I know they say 100, but a lot of times people like really overestimate how long it takes. Even if it took me the full 100, I am not getting tired of it yet. The gameplay is really good. I love the archetype system in there, so what you can do for your players, so you can do it for your team or just yourself if you want to. There's different archetypes, which is essentially just styles of playing. So you could be a medic. There's one that's like a brawler, which is just a boxer. There's a knight, but then if you level up the knight and the mage, that unlocks the magic knight at the same time. And then above the mage is the wizard. There's a healer. There's another one that's just a merchant. That's more you get more rewards when you beat people if you have a merchant equipped. There's another person that's called the seeker. I don't remember what the second form of it was called, but he's just kind of a jack of all trades that does everything. So either way, if there's a demo out there for that's been out there, so if you guys haven't tried it, I highly recommend if you've been sitting on the fence for this, because I think this might be my game of the year.
Nice, yeah. After hearing all that, it sounds. I definitely want to check it out. I started it, but I knew what I was gonna get myself into, and at the time I was just like, I'm not in the mode for because it's weird to think that if it is 100 hours, you're only a fifth of the way through the game, so that's a very daunting tell. So,
what do you got going on?
As far as what I've been watching, I watched Andrew's recommendation, which was Trick or Treat, which came out on December 9th, 2007. It's an interwoven stories demonstrate that some traditions are best not forgotten, as the residents, which are Anna Paquin, Brian Cox, and Dylan Baker, of a small town face real ghosts and goblins on Halloween. Tales of terror reveal the consequences of extinguishing a jack-o'-lantern before midnight and a grumpy hermit's encounter with a sinister trick-or-treater. Now, what caught my eye is the box office. The budget for this movie was $12 million. Its box office was only $27,000, which is insane that it only made that much money.
Well, because it only was
select theaters.
No, I don't even think it did select theaters. I think it just did like a festival, so it's whatever it accrued at that festival, and then after that, it was a straight to DVD movie.
Okay, because it caught my eye because I just also watched another movie called Saturday Night, which is about the first airing of Saturday Night Live.
Oh, I saw that,
and it had a let me see if I can pull it up here again. Saturday Night was another one that had a really bad. So its budget was I think like 20 to 30 million. And it opened up with 270,000 in the box office right now, so that's a complete flopper. But
I wish for this movie they would talk about like overall sales, because if you look under it later on Wikipedia, it says it obviously straight to DVD and that it's like considered a cult classic now and people love it. I wish it would be like, oh, this is what it did on DVD, or even maybe instead of box office have like a DVD sales or something.
Yeah. Like it's afterlife for it. But okay, so I thought this movie was going to be a lot different than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a way more like kind of hack and slash horror. I thought that what is the little thing's name?
Sam.
That thing's name is Sam. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought it was going to be more this thing running around killing people. It's actually funnier than I thought it was going to be. And instead of being more hardcore slasher, it was kind of more sadistic when you saw what was going on. So just to point out, like that one kid who, because you always talk about that scene where the kid eats the razor blade chocolate and he starts like throwing up, dude. I was like, damn, that's gnarly. And then the dad with the little kid at the end when he's got the severed head, I was like, that was pretty gnarly. The whole school bus thing when he drives it off the cliff and then it comes back into play later.
That one's good.
That was gnarly. And then at the end you see the cult with the girls and all that stuff.
Oh, the werewolf one?
Yeah,
dude, that one was the
when
best.
it combined all together, I love shit like that. It was kind of like
almost like Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah, like a Tales from the Crypt kind of thing where you get a bunch of these different little stories. So in my head, and then at the end you get Brian Cox's character, which was the best, dude. He's running around trying to shoot this thing, who I thought was going to be in like the entire movie. But he does pick his parts, like when he stabs that chick with the lollipop you were talking about, and then he puts it in her mouth at the end, and she's hanging. So I actually might make this a standard October trick-or-treat movie for me moving forward.
Good. Like, I'm glad you really liked it a lot.
Yeah, because he's been hyping it up forever, and I finally was like, okay, let's do it. And it's a lot better and different than I thought it was going to be. So I was actually really impressed. I love all the different stories. I loved all the different types of killing. That one dude that's starts biting that chick and then she just starts bleeding and then he's chasing her. So there's all kinds of good little stories. And yeah, Tales from the Crypt is a good way to put it.
And I just love to. So it takes that, but it combines them all together.
Yeah.
So like you'll see Dylan Baker, the teacher, like he like bumps into that
couple. When they were walking. Yeah, I saw that.
And
part.
so you just see different people at different points in time. So you're like, okay, this story takes place here now, and he was doing this before he did that. And so it's just cool little things like that like build it up.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it, I was on the fence about it, not just because it looked bad or anything, just because it's not different. Really my genre, but it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
I'm glad you loved it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you like Monster Squad, so there you go. So guys, with that down, as far as what I'm playing, I'll be quick on this because there's not really much to say. There's this game called Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood. Now, I wanted to play it for a while because I thought the trailer looked cool and the cover always looked badass. And it's out on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and the Series X. It came out on February 4th, 2021, so it was a next-gen game at the time when it came out. This thing looks like shit. Like, when you start playing it, it runs like it was made for the 360.
Yeah, you were telling me that.
Yeah, it's an easy game to just kind of run through, so I kind of just stuck with it because there's something cool there. The concept of being able to transform into this werewolf was cool because when you're fighting, you can switch between two different styles. You can be like, he can get on all fours, he can be like the dodgy, fast werewolf, or he stands up on two and he's like a strength
like
powerhouse.
Force, yeah.
And there's skill trees you get that you can unlock certain abilities for each form or overall and things like that. As far as the gameplay goes, it's a lot of repetitiveness. It's a lot of just quick hack and slash. There's a story there about the main guy. He was like banished from his tribe, and then he has to come back, and his daughter gets stolen. And then at that point of the game, he's looking for her, and you're trying to take out like these eco-terrorists. I wasn't really paying that much attention to the storyline. I was just kind of listening to a podcast and playing it. But I'm glad I finally did because I have it on PS5 and I have it on Xbox. And I'm like, oh, I want to give it a go. And I figured Werewolf kind of cool during Halloween. It's not good. At the end, it's got two different endings you can do, but there is no way I was gonna. But you can't chapter select, so there's no way I was gonna redo the same thing. So that's what I've been playing, amongst other things. And next week we'll kind of get into more of the bigger stuff. So with that down out of the way, guys, let's move into our main topic, and that is Like a Dragon Yakuza is out now on Amazon, but it aired on October 24th, 2024. When Andrew and I were getting ready to do notes and stuff for the show, there was only 3 episodes out, so our review is going to be over the first 3 episodes. But as of right now, by the time you listen to this, all 6 episodes are actually out. So obviously it's based on the Yakuza games, but a quick synopsis is Kazuma is a man with a great sense of duty and humanity who has never lost a fight. In order to protect his childhood friends who he grew up with in an orphanage, he throws himself into a criminal underworld. So I've only played the prequel and I've played the first game. I'm in like chapter 6, so I don't really have Yakuza bias or anything like that. I'm not invested into the lore, unlike Andrew, who's beaten every one of the games. So I'm going to be curious to see what your kind of interpretation is. Mine, looking at it from just watching it as a show, I think the show is fine. I think it's perfectly okay, which kind of isn't what I was looking forward to, because I want all of Amazon's video game adaptation shows to be bangers like Fallout. So for me, it seems like Amazon maybe didn't have their hands on this as much as I think they should have. There's a lot of, I mean, I don't mean it in a bad way, but it's very foreign. And I can see, it's true to Japanese film and TV and stuff like that. And I don't think the average person would pick this up like they did Fallout, not knowing anything about the IP, and go, oh, this is a really cool show. Where this one, it's like, I don't know, I don't think it's for everybody. But I want to read a review real quick, and then Andrew, I want to dive into your thoughts about it, because I think it's not getting a lot of love. And I was digging through a bunch of reviews to kind of see what everyone was kind of mad about. And this one here kind of seems to be what represents most people's thoughts. And it says, I wanted it to be good. Instead, it's bad. Really, really bad. The characters fail to embody and embrace the rich history present in the Yakuza series. Instead, they fall into the age-old trap of trying something new. Why would you buy a beloved IP with more than 8 mainline games, each with over 60 hours of gameplay and intricate history, only to try something new? Is it just for marketing? It feels as if they completely disregarded what made the series so cherished by fans. Instead of building upon or faithfully recreating the well-crafted legacy that was already there, they decided to go in a direction that strips away the very elements that made the Yakuza series special in the first place. This isn't innovation, it's a misguided attempt at reinvention, and it falls flat on its face. So that's pretty rough, but it seems like that's what a lot of people are taking away, that there isn't this distinct reference to the games. And like I said earlier, for me, that doesn't matter, because I'm not invested into the games as much as other people, and for me, that's okay. But Andrew, as somebody that has beaten all the games and looking forward to the next one, what's your takeaway with this show? How are you looking at it?
I kind of agree with like a lot of that, except for I won't say that it's bad. I say that it's okay.
I don't think it's bad.
I'd say that's okay, but sometimes that is the worst thing to say is it's just okay.
But when we had high hopes for it.
For something that should be this good. I do agree, like, I don't understand why you buy this IP or use this name, use a lot of stuff from the games, but then just completely change really what's at the heart of it. And I don't mind some of the changes, so, like, initially in the games, Kiryu is called the Dragon of Jujima, and he has this tattoo on his back, and he's the legend, because he beats everybody. Whereas in this, it's an inherited title of who's the strongest fighter and people who have never lost a fight. And I don't mind that, because he could win this title, or gain the title, and then just never end up losing it. And then eventually maybe somebody carries it someday in his honor, or whoever's honor. You're within that lines. I don't mind that. That's fine. But what I do mind is when you're completely changing like people's ambitions and what they stand for and their ideals. So, like, Kiryu originally, like, he is somebody who does try to protect his friends, but he joins up with the Yakuza for a completely different reason, and it almost kind of seems like it's like a last attempt to be desperate to like kind of avoid consequences, versus in the game he joins because he admires this man that took him in and raised him almost like a son, and he wants to follow in his footsteps, and that man happens to be Yakuza. And so there's just a lot of things here that they do take some things from the game, like the Millennium Towers there obviously takes place in Kamurocho. I at least like the setting. I could say I think that's faithfully adapted. Is that I do feel like you're in this city. I think arguably the biggest problem with this for me is you only have 6 episodes and they're at like 40 minutes each, and they're trying to almost cram 2 games in together. So they've taken Yakuza 0, and instead of making it take place in the 80s, it takes place in 1995, and then the modern one takes place in 2005, which, okay, whatever, it's just different aesthetics. I guess that's fine. I could live with it, except for I love that 80s charm of the game. But now it's almost like the Resident Evil movie, even though I like the Welcome to Raccoon City. You're taking too much and trying to cram it in into a tiny thing as possible. So I don't understand why, especially too, if you weren't expecting people to know who this is or you're going to take liberties, why wouldn't you just start with 0 and then go on?
Yeah. Because
you already have all those amazing characters and everyone that everybody loves in 1, 2, 3, whatever. They're all in 0. So why wouldn't you just start there, take your liberties there, but then take your time and show, okay, here's our vision and here's what we're going to do moving forward. And I can accept that versus you're jumping back and forth all the time. So it's not like
very cohesive either.
Yeah, it's not like half the episode. Sometimes you'll be like 10 minutes in one era, 20 in another, and then back for another 10, or you'll finish out the remainder of the episode. And so there's times where I get lost too, because if you're not paying attention to the little counter, I have to. I'm like, okay, well, what outfit is Cutie wearing? Okay, so this is in the past.
Yeah, and again, I think it's a perfectly fine show. There's a couple of issues that I wanted to point out, and I think this is what's holding it back for me, and add on, and if there's anything more that adds for you. First off, the dub is bad.
I actually think it's good.
Oh, the English voice acting?
Yeah,
I
don't have a problem with it.
I really don't care for it. Did you ever figure out the Japanese thing?
You know what? I had to Google how do you put something in Japanese, because on Amazon, when you go to change the audio, it's all in symbols. I don't know what those symbols mean.
Yeah.
So I could put it in Chinese by accident. So I found out on Reddit, they said put it for these symbols for Japanese, the same symbols were there. But when I did it, because that's the way I would prefer to watch it anyways, and because that's how I play the games, is all subbed. When I did that, the English subs weren't popping up anymore for some reason. So I couldn't understand it. And it did a little bit of it at first, and then it just didn't subtitle it anymore. So then I just had to put it back into English and rewind and go back and watch it. Okay. So that is a problem. And I don't know if that's an Amazon thing or just something with this. But
yeah, because I was texting Andrew, and I'm like, because when it goes in alphabetical order with the languages, it goes from I to M, so there was no just Japanese. So yeah, but then I was showing him, I'm like, it's all symbols, and I don't know which one's going to be which. So I'm glad you like the dub. I didn't really care for it, and I could imagine if you're not used to watching things dubbed, again, like the average person that liked Fallout might watch this and go, oh, I already don't kind of like it, because it's not matching up with, like, you know, the way they're emotioning of what they're talking about. The other thing I would say is it's kind of boring in a fact that you get kind of lost sometimes, like Andrew was saying, when it jumps between the timelines. I think what they're doing is, I think they're focusing on the wrong thing that at least I liked about Yakuza was they're focusing on these friendships and these relationships, and again, you have to get to that at some point, and they get into the whole real estate deal, which is one of the main premises, but it's like, I want to see the fighting part. That the whole game, you're running around beating the shit out of people, and the few parts they've done the fighting in, which hasn't been much in 3 episodes, was my favorite part of the show. And that's not to say they won't keep going, because I saw one of the thumbnails for the episode 4 or 5, and he's in the arena now, so I'm hoping the back half gets better. But that was kind of my biggest problem. Like, this is really just kind of slow developing these character relationships that, not saying that they're bad, but none of these characters are, like, fun. I don't really care about learning if this guy's his sister and these guys are friends now. So, for me, I'm getting kind of lost in that part. And I think it just kind of did the wrong thing. I would have been more interested in seeing the street fights and things like that. So, are you going to keep going with it? Do you plan on finishing it?
I'm going to finish watching it for sure.
I don't know if I will, but I want to, but it's just like, that's another 3 hours of my life.
I do agree, like, it is easy to get, like, lost in what's going on, and that's part of the problem. I mean, it's not a bad, I guess, crime thriller, if that's what you're looking for, too, which I do like that part of Yakuza, but that's not the whole thing that makes Yakuza. And at the very least, what I really wish they would have done, too, because it wouldn't have been hard to do, is when introducing people that are actually important to the narrative, do it like it does in the game, where it does the free frame, tells you, Daigo Dojima, leader of the Dojima family, or something like that.
Because I'm getting lost with some of who the people are. Not that I can't, like, tell the difference, but when you're jumping back and forth, I'm like, because they have different looks, which I think is kind of cool. They look different from the 10-year gap. So I was like, oh wait, that's him. But yeah, if there would have been something that stated this guy, I'm like, oh, you missed an opportunity there.
Yeah, I think that really would have helped with, like, people feeling like you're lost, because then you're like, okay, well, I know that obviously you don't do it for everybody. This person's important to the show. This person's important to the show. Whatever, because you do that in the games, and I felt like that is one of my favorite parts of the games, because it's a super sick introduction, and then once I'm like, okay, cool. It creates that still in your head, like, okay, this person's important. I should remember who they are. So every time they're on screen, I'm not wondering who they are, and I feel like that really did wonders for me in the game. And I don't know, do you feel like that really helped you to create standouts in the game?
Yeah, I think 100%. Because there's certain guys, like, I forget the guy that wears the white suit. Is that Dojima or whoever? Like, he stands out, but a lot of the other guys are just kind of like, oh, what was the boss of he? What was he the leader of? But the last thing I want to get on in this, is anything else you want to add on, was the 3 main characters. How do you like that they're being represented? So Kazuma, and then Nishi Yukiyama, and then Majima. Because you're more involved with these guys. I thought Kazuma is okay. I do like him when he gets out of prison, obviously more than the past. Majima, I hope he starts getting a little more zany. I don't think that personality is quite there from what I've seen. And I think Nishiki, I think he's actually pretty spot on. I really liked him.
Yeah, I think Nishiki would be the best one. Kiryo's, I like him. I think it's good, but I'll need to see more. And we've only seen like a few seconds of Majima.
But we did get his eye out though, and that was fucking sick.
Yeah, but I did like the part though where they first meet or whatever, and he like digs through his pockets and like grabs a cigarette. He's like, "Oh, should I say whatever?" And then he acts like he's gonna light. So I'm like, "Okay, cool." Like there's that right there. I'm like, that is something that's like perfect. Like that's I think that's what hurts the most is there's moments like that, and there's a couple moments where like it's perfect. You understand to some degree what this is supposed to be. Yeah. I just don't understand how you can't. Why is that 10-20% of this instead of 80%, 90%, 100%.
Yeah, I don't know if the 45-minute episodes are good for it, and obviously the 6 episodes aren't, because I think it drags on a little long. I wish if the episodes were more 30 minutes and maybe spread out over 10 episodes or something like that. But
I just think it should have been 10 regardless.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to say if this show is going to get a season 2. I guess since there's only 3 more episodes, I probably will just finish it and then kind of have like a final stamp on it. But I want to like it, and again, as of right now, I don't not like it. It's just okay when it should have been something that was really hyped, and I was really looking forward to see what they were going to do, because the show doesn't make me want to play the games at all. And that's kind of that's the opposite of what things like the show The Last of Us and Fallout did. The games spiked when those shows came out. Twisted Metal even got a resurgence. I don't think there's any boost in the Yakuza series in terms of playing based on the show.
Yeah, this almost kind of like it's almost like Halo. I don't mind the liberties that you're taking with some stuff, but you're spending too much time on that stuff that's not why people are watching this. And this is kind of suffering from the same thing.
Yeah. So I'll just end on this fact, and this is kind of what they had to say about it. It says, ultimately, if you can't separate the show from the games, you'll hate it. Do yourself a favor and watch it for what it really is. Removing the expectation of Like a Dragon, Yakuza being faithful to the games doesn't magically make this a groundbreaking TV series. It's fine. I don't think it's as bad as everyone's gut reaction of why is this so different is making them feel. It's still very watchable, but it won't be winning any awards. And that comes from the website The Gamer. I wanted to read that because that's kind of how I feel about it as well. So, anything else about Yakuza?
No, hopefully it does well enough to maybe where we could do a revamped season 2 and understand what the problems are and work better going further. But if not, I mean, at least I guess I tried. But I mean, it, like I said, okay. Sometimes saying it's okay is the worst compliment.
Well said. So let's move into our second story, guys, and that is a quick review and look at Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which is a 2024 first-person shooter video game co-developed by Treyarch and Raven Software and published by Activision. It is the 21st installment, which blew my mind when I was reading that. That's that many of the Call of Duty series, and is the 7th main entry into the Black Ops subseries, following Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, which this game was released on October 25th, 2024. It's on all the platforms,
but free on the Game Pass.
Free on the Game Pass, which was expected. I know a lot of people were kind of wondering what was going to happen once Xbox did the Activision deal. But yeah, day one, Call of Duty Black Ops 6. So it's doing extremely well. It's getting a lot of good reviews, and I just kind of want to read some of the highlights that it had, because it did do a couple of impressive things. So Call of Duty tops 500 million copies sold as Black Ops 6 becomes the largest or the biggest release in the franchise history. During a Q2 earnings call, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella announced that Call of Duty Black Ops 6 was the biggest release in the history of the series, and here are some of its key metrics. It set a record for day one players and new Game Pass subscribers, which was arguably the biggest thing that Microsoft wanted to get out of this, Xbox wanted to get out of this, was getting the Game Pass to swell, and we always knew Call of Duty was going to bring them. Ooh. It's nice to know they set a record for it.
I'll say quick note before this too, because I don't think, well, obviously we hadn't mentioned it because I've been here in a little bit, is before this came out, not just before this came out, I think it's been more than 2 weeks now, they did stop doing the $1 Game Pass subscriber deal.
Oh,
so that way you
hooked in?
Yeah, so that way you couldn't just demo it, play this game for $1, and then dip out. So I think that was a smart move on them for sure.
Way smart. It was a cool idea back when you wanted to get people to know what Game Pass was, but we all know what it is now. And that ship needs to sell, especially when you want to start making your money back on the biggest acquisition that you've ever had. So its other record was the biggest Call of Duty game ever in terms of total numbers of players and hours played over the 3-day opening weekend. And copies sold on PlayStation and Steam increased 60% year over year compared to last year's Modern Warfare 3. As in the case with Modern Warfare 3, the company didn't disclose the exact figures for Black Ops 6. We do know that Modern Warfare 2 launched before Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard, generated $800 million in its first 3 days, and crossed the $1 billion mark in 10 days. That's wild. At the time, it was an all-time franchise record, beating the previous one set by Black Ops 2. Activision Blizzard also told the Washington Post that the entire Call of Duty franchise has now sold over 500 million copies globally. Figures for each title remain undisclosed, but the new milestone makes COD one of the biggest video game IPs of all time, the top 5 being Mario at 879.41 million copies, Call of Duty at 500 million copies, Tetris at 495 million units, which most are paid mobile downloads, Pokemon at 480 million, and Grand Theft Auto, which is at 430 million copies, including 200 million units of GTA 5. Launched on October 25th, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 caused a huge player interest. The main Call of Duty HQ app peaked at over 300k concurrent users on Steam, beating previous premium installment in the series. So, we all knew Call of Duty was going to be big. Does it surprise you that it's doing this well, or is this what everyone knew was coming? Call of Duty banged it out.
No, it's good. I think people were kind of a little shaky, especially after the last two. I felt like we liked it, but we could agree that it was a dip down from 1, and then 3 was just bad.
Yeah.
So even going to this, I was like, I don't know, until some of the trailers start up the hype machine. This one actually had, I think they probably put more into marketing in this, or at least I remember seeing more of this marketing than they did for Modern Warfare 3. So yeah. I wonder if that had something to do with it too. Because they even brought back some of those classic things too, like the what is the guys? Is it the Replacer or whatever? Where like they're like sitting down to dinner and they're like, "Where's my dad?" And the dude's like, "I'm your dad now. Your dad's playing Call of Duty." And then like the wife's sitting there, she's like, "Kids, it's time for bed" or whatever. He's like, "Oh, daddy's hungry."
Was it a commercial for it?
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that one.
It's the dude's always in the commercial, and he just takes different people's like roles. I think one of them, it's even on like ESPN, and he's sitting down with I forget what the other football player's name is, and he's like, or maybe it's basketball. He's like, "Oh, and I'm here with." And it's supposed to be like, not like Shaq, but like somebody like that, somebody famous. Like, it's like, oh, he's playing Call of Duty, so I'm here replacing him. And it's the dude from the second John Wick, that's the brother that shares the vodka shop with him.
Okay.
And I was gonna say, I don't know if now that you can put a face to it, they've had tons of commercials with this guy.
Yeah, he's the guy from The Profession or something like that, and or Leon or whatever. But anyway, yeah.
But they brought those back, and they're absolutely hilarious, and they've been killing it too.
Good. Now
I've seen nothing but positive, so I wonder if it just seems like their marketing. It seems like they're back, kind of, going full steam ahead. Versus, I don't really remember it being that well for the last 2.
Yeah. So moving into the campaign, which just to preface, I haven't beaten it yet. I think about 4 missions in. And Andrew has beaten it, so he can talk from more of a final kind of say point. But just to start, I'll kind of have these points written down and then chime in with what you need to say with it. First off, it's easily noticeable that they haven't missed a beat with the gunplay. Like, the combat is awesome. It's tight. Every weapon feels nice to shoot, and I don't think we expected anything different. But again, I haven't played with all the guns and stuff like that. Does everything feel as good as first picking up the controller? And how are you liking that they added the wheel? The wheel's something new, right? That you can add on your lethal and tactical things.
Oh, like yeah, that. For like those, so you can carry like multiple things. Yeah, I like it. It gives you a lot more options. So yeah. I think the gunplay feels better than ever.
Yeah, so I think that's definitely a good sign. I don't think anybody had any issues that it was going to go down, but the fact that it's still nice, tight, and moving forward. The next thing I want to say, and tell me if it continues throughout, is that the campaign seems to be pretty brutal. I mean, obviously there's campaigns where people are getting walked up and you get shot in the head, but in the very first mission, that scene where the car gets flipped and the dude falls out of it and he's burning alive, I was like, damn, I like that. So does it stay pretty ruthless throughout, or is it an average Call of Duty game in terms of violence and gore? From what I've seen so far, it seems to be ramping up.
I think it ramps up a bit. It's good, but I don't want to say like it kind of stalls, but it does different things. Like, there's one mission that's actually my favorite mission that you do. That's actually more like an Ocean's 11. I know it's gonna sound weird to you now, but when you play it, you'll be like, oh, I totally see what he's talking about.
Okay, so that's later in the game.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I think it's like the 11th mission maybe. and that one's absolutely my favorite. So they do a lot here with these missions, and they even bring back, I know people didn't like it in the last one, I personally didn't, some of the open world missions, but they're done so much better. And then even some of the smaller ones, like, okay, I can cross this bridge, or I could try to sneak through the water, or I could just kill everybody. I could stealth my way there, or I could just fight my way there, brute force. So you have multiple choices for how to do certain things versus just the classic take cover, kill these people, blow up an ejector, keep going, a checkpoint checker, and just keep going forward. So I like a lot of the changes that they've made with this campaign. It definitely is a huge step in the right direction, especially after the last one. I would say the conclusion to the campaign just feels a little like meh. That's the only thing. It's almost like sequel bait, which that isn't really the problem, but I feel like it kind of just like, I'm like, that was it. Like, I don't feel like it really ended on that, like, man, but that's what sucks, is like you're getting there and you're on a roller coaster there, but then it's almost like you hit the peak and then it's like, all right, the ride's done, you're right here.
Okay, yeah, because I plan on beating it over the weekend, so I'm curious if I'll feel the same way. Denny's beating it. I haven't talked to him about it, and I was talking with Dante the other day. He just downloaded Call of Duty, so I'd be curious of what he would say.
I played with him.
Oh, did you play a couple? I've been playing a lot of the multiplayer, and we'll dive in that in a second. But I like what you're saying, how it keeps the options open of how to do it, because one of the missions in the beginning is, I love the espionage part of it. When you have to Bill Clinton gala and you have to get the senator's retinal scan, there's a point where there's like 3 different options of how you want to do it. You can kind of pick which style you want to do. I ended up going to talk to his wife doing that. What did you do? Because there's 3 options, and I'm trying to remember what the other ones were. Which one did you do?
I think on that one's the Met Gala, right? Where you have the camera at first. I think on that one, there's another rival dude that's there that you're supposed to, that you can like overhear and listen to if you run into him. And he checked his coat in, so your chick distracts him, and then you go pickpocket the coat and get the information out of there, and then you go to wherever the meeting spot is.
Cool. So
I like that it's got like that little tack map that it's like, I love it. Yeah, it shows you like you can do this, or this.
Yeah. So is there more of that in the game? Because when I got to that part, I was like, this is really, really cool, because it's not so much run and bang a gun out Call of Duty. It's like there's some nice little maneuvers you got to do. So is there more of that in the game? Because I really like that aspect.
Yeah, there's like a couple of those in there. I think there's maybe like 2 or 3 tops, and then mixed in with everything else. It's like a good balance through the rest of the way in.
Perfect. And then obviously the addition of the safe house. That is something new in Call of Duty's, right? And you get
I don't think there's been a safe house.
So you get the safe house. It's like a little bunker for you, and I love the way that they're incorporating finding money to build it up. So with it, you can build, there's like the target practice area, the guns, the weapon shop, and I forget what the other thing, but you can use the money to start building upgrades, the gear that you can start using in the game. I love it so far. Because you were telling me about it, and I didn't really get what you were saying, and then now that I'm playing it, I'm doing my reloading, I'm doing my down the sights, recoil. So I think it's a lot of fun. It keeps me engaged in it when the downtime is, instead of just going mission to mission to mission.
I like it because it feels fresh and it's something different. Again, you don't even have to use it or do any of that stuff. You can just go through, however you want to. But if you are someone who's impatient or like me or like to run through, you can go and get your plates better, you're faster reloading. There's a whole bunch of different options on there to kind of cater to your gameplay. So it just adds a little something different.
So that's pretty much all I have to say about the campaign, because I'm not all the way done with it. Is there anything else you want to add on or that you want to mention before we get into the kind of the multiplayer?
I got one other thing that I want to mention, and I'm sure you've noticed a little bit before. I like what they've done. If you've ran into any, I like what they've done with some of the newer enemies, because in the last one, all they did was just add plates to some enemies, and that was stupid. Or it didn't really do anything. It kind of just didn't feel like much. Whereas this one, there's your regular enemies, and then you do have your plated enemies, but they're like specialists. Have you ran into any of those?
I killed one, and it showed his name or something, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
They have like a symbol over their head. So there's like a dude that can have like a minigun. There's these other guys that'll just rush you with shotguns, and they have a little bit more health. There's another guy that does gadgets, so he'll do like a little RC car or whatever that'll drive at you.
Oh yeah, I ran into that guy.
Or he'll throw out like these little shock mines that like shock you, and then they like blow up and like flash you and stuff. So I was like, oh, that's cool. You have all these different enemies, especially too when you have like a combination of them. It just adds more challenge, and again, it's just better than, hey, we're just going to throw hordes of, just cannon fodder at you. It makes you play a little bit different, especially too, because that dude's hiding. He'll duck behind a thing, and he'll keep sending cars after you. And even if there's people out there, I'm like, damn, well, I have to push this guy because he's just going to keep sending these stupid cars.
I was wondering if he was going to run out, and he just kept doing it because I just kept blasting him around the corner. I'm like, he's not stopping, so I gotta go out there and take care of this guy.
Yeah, so you're like, damn it, okay, well, now I'll throw a flashbang at these guys, push this dude, kill him, and then I'll use his cover, and then I'll go from there. So it creates a different style of gameplay.
Excellent. So, as of right now, man, the campaign is doing well. Everyone seems to be really enjoying it. I doubt it's going to be up for any type of game of the year for the campaign. I'm sure it'll be up for the multiplayer. I don't know how much you want to dive into the multiplayer. But that's kind of where Andrew lives, is he's on it every day. I'm really not. I have been playing a lot more of it, though, because usually I play Halo with TK, but TK hasn't been on for a while, so it does feel nice to get back in and like start leveling up guns again and doing that. But I just wanted to point out what it had real quick for its map list on its opening. So Call of Duty Black Ops 6 features a mix of classic and brand new multiplayer maps, including returning maps from the previous chapters of the Black Ops series, including Black Ops Cold War, such as the iconic Nuketown map, which comes out, I believe, tomorrow. So these are the main maps that they have out, which is Babylon, Derelict, Lowtown, Payback, Protocol, Red Card, Rewind, Scud, Skyline, Subsonic, Vault, and Vorkuta. And then they have these other ones that are for more 2v2 as well as...
Yeah, the smaller maps.
Yeah, the smaller maps, which is the Gala, the Pit, Stakeout, and Warhead. So overall, there's 17 with Nuketown coming out on November 1st. Like I say, not bad. That's a lot of good maps. I mean, how are you liking the designs? Is there anyone that stands out as your favorite? I don't think I've played enough to have that kind of opinion yet, but everything I'm seeing, I like. It seems like there's a lot more paths to get around and kind of do a lot more team play kind of things. Like, that's hard to say for me because I don't play it as much, but like I really like the designs in the beginning when you can see it. It seems easier to kind of pick out these paths. So at least for someone like me. But how are you playing it? Someone that's a Call of Duty vet. How are you liking all the new maps and everything?
I like them, actually. I've been playing a lot of the smaller ones, the face-off, because then you're just in the action. You're constantly like fighting somebody. So I think my favorite one is actually like Stakeout, because it's literally just two hallways and then there's like kind of like one mid lane. So usually the first thing people do is they'll run to one side and then there's a hallway, but the doors are shut at the start and people just start unloading on the doors trying to get like kills or anybody. So either you're getting a kill or you're getting killed. So I like them and I think it's fun. I think the biggest thing from this, the biggest thing to take away from the multiplayer, and I'm interested to see what you think about it, is the Omni movement. Now, have you noticed anything like that? Like how you can run, you're not just running forward anymore. You can run sideways, you can run backwards. Does it feel a lot more fluid when you're playing?
When I'm playing it, because again, I don't play enough of them, but I did notice the difference. And when it comes to just getting out of situations, I feel like it's better than instead of just running backwards and then trying to turn around. Where for me, I'm noticing a difference, but I'm curious for you. Like, are you getting better, more kills this way? Are you more dynamic?
I think I'm getting in and out of certain situations like a lot better too, and it feels a lot better because they've even added some things like if you get close to like a wall and like let's say this is the hallway right here and I'm aiming, your guy will actually like out like that too. Yeah. So there's just lots of like innovative little things that I think will be something keeping going forward, especially too because I love the Omni movement. I think it feels good. I'm not so sure about the diving stuff yet, but it's just as far as running because I'll run into a room and there's a guy camping in the corner, whereas before he would just beat me because he's already just aiming at a door and I would have to do a full 180 and then run. I could just back up and just run backwards while holding my gun up, so if he's going to chase me, I'm going to beat him. So it just gives you more options. And I think what I've done more for the multiplayer, though, actually, and something that I'm really back into now, is the zombies.
I was just going to ask, because I haven't tried zombies yet, but I heard everyone's having a lot of fun with it. So
it is a lot of fun. I played it with Dante, Josh, and my cousin AJ the other day, and I don't know any
Josh,
of the guns.
Neighbor, Josh?
Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay. I don't know any of the guns particularly, like once you upgrade them, what's the best, what's not, we just jumped in there, and I think we made it to like round 27.
Oh, nice.
And it was after a while where like, I'm reviving everybody, I'm like, Dante was just going down instantly, because he'd been, I think, like drinking, and so I'd revive him.
That's the fun part of playing stupid shit like that.
So it was fun, and it feels really, really good to play. And there's a lot of areas to train the zombies, so like run them around, so it's not just like tight hallways anymore. I've only done one of the two maps, and I really, really like it a lot. That I've been going back and wanting to play more with like my cousin or just anybody who's on. And I haven't been on zombies in a long time, and this one feels refreshing and good. And I know my cousin's absolutely loving it and like back on it. So
yeah, I think so far they urged 2. There's only 2, and I think there's more coming. So it says Liberty Falls and Terminus are the 2. So yeah, I haven't played that one yet, and if we get some time. Because is it just 4 people, or can it be up to 6? Or how many people can get into a lobby?
It's just 4, but I'm always down to play, so hit me up, because I want to get the achievements out of it. Okay,
because I was on Twitter, and Call of Duty, I think, reposted it, but it was saying, like, people are already having fun, and these 2 dudes that I saw were running from this big-ass zombie, and they're running to an elevator, and right before the door shuts, I don't know what it showed, like a tendril shoots out, grabs them. Dude, they started losing it, and they put a big smile on my face, because I don't really play zombie. I just like playing deathmatch and kill confirmed and stuff, but I saw that and I'm like, oh, that looks like a lot of fun. So.
No, it is a lot of fun. You should definitely try it, and don't be afraid about going in there and getting messed up. Like, it's just a figuring out process.
Now, is there anything else you want to add on Call of Duty, whether it be the campaign, the multiplayer, or zombies, or is that...
No, if you guys were interested in it, and for whatever reason you're waiting, definitely get out there and try it. If you're more Warzone based like me, they are going to be doing the integration. I think the rumor is November 14th, and I think that's when Season 1 starts. If you have it from the Game Pass, there is an option to do a $30 upgrade to the Deluxe Edition that gives you the Season 1, plus I think like 20 skippable levels, some extra skins, and some tokens and stuff like that, so you can buy other stuff later on. My cousin ended up getting it for me because I helped him out with something. So if that's something you're interested in, that option's on there as well, because I know it doesn't like pop it up on the front map. So if you play a lot of Warzone or something like that, I'd say that's worth it, because the Black Cell Pass, I think by itself, when you buy it, it's like $20. So this already comes with, whatever else.
Nice. And I did read, I think I saw it on Twitter too, starting the 1st through the 4th, I think it's a double XP weekend and double guns and all that stuff. So if you're going to jump on it, this weekend's going to be a good time to play to roost. So leave your guys' thoughts and opinion down below of Yakuza and Call of Duty Black Ops. So we're going to do one question, guys. So questions of the week. If you guys want to leave a question that Andrew and I can answer on the show, you can do so a couple different ways. You can leave a comment in the YouTube section. We can grab it there. You can email us at lastcallproductions@gmail.com, or you can find me on social media at Craig Perales, and you can message me there. And our question today comes from Chris Trejo, and they write, it's getting close to the end of the year. I know you guys always do a top 5 game of the year, but what would you say is in your top 3 at the moment? Oh, you know what? It says 3. I think I only wrote 2, so sorry I didn't do it correctly for you at the moment. And what perhaps may be the best game overall. So what are you thinking so far, Drew? What's catching your eye?
So if we were doing 3, I would have thrown in. I guess
I could pick a 3. Now. I just didn't write a 3.
Well, I can't think of the name now. That one Capcom game that I just played where you're like dragging.
Kitsumatsu?
Or Kunitsugami. Yeah,
that. I knew what you were saying, but in my head it was just...
Yeah. I just seen the name the other day. So that one would be up there. I really enjoyed that. But my top 2 are like JRPGs, surprisingly, for this year. So Infinite Wealth feels like it came out last year, but that came out in like January.
That's what I thought too. We were talking about it. I'm like, that game was this year?
I really enjoyed that game. And right now, for me, I think by far clear runaway is going to be Metaphor. So spoiler alert. And you know what's funny too? Is I hadn't played another game, and I remember telling you about this, is that when you're over leveled in Infinite Wealth, if you like start a fight or initiate a fight and you hit them first, it'll just instantly kill them and you get all the XP and stuff without having to go through the long drawn out battles.
And blah, blah,
blah. Metaphor has something that's just like that.
Oh, cool! I dig that kind of.
And I'm like, dude, I'm glad that we're kind of seeing more of something like that. That you're respecting my time, and I don't have to load up and get into the whole battle situation just to fight this level 1 guy, and I'm level whatever, and maybe I'm farming him for an item or something like that. I could just kill him and be done with it almost instantly, and it just tells you all the stuff you get, and you don't even load into the battle. You're still just running around, and so I'm just running in circles, and you're just far. It just makes it so much better.
Nice. Yeah. As far as what I would say, I mean, Final Fantasy VII. It's not remake. What's the second one?
Rebirth.
Rebirth is clearly up there, but in terms of just fun gameplay, it's Astrobot, which came out on September 6th by Team Asobi. This game is so fantastic. It's a 3D. It's a platforming game. It's like Nintendo quality platforming on PlayStation, but finding all the guys, getting all the secrets. I got it platinumed, and what's really cool is my nephew Grayson, he's only 8. He's been playing it, loves it. Surprisingly, he's fantastic at it. I was watching him play. He can move. He platinumed it. So it's a game that really is for all ages, that you can pick this game up, have fun with it. I had a blast playing with it. My nephew had a blast playing with it. I know Geno, I think, is going to start playing it. So for me, I as much as I love Final Fantasy VII, Astrobot was just something I wasn't expecting to enjoy so much because I know what I was going to get with Final Fantasy VII, and Astrobot I know a little bit because of Astro's Playroom, which was amazing, and this game just took all of that, dialed it up, and improved on everything. I wouldn't say this, I did want to give a shout out though, because I wouldn't say it's my top 3 favorite game of the year because I haven't beaten it and I'm not that far into it, but I do like that Black Myth Wukong is getting a lot of love out there, and it's nice to see games coming out of the Chinese developers and stuff.
I haven't gotten a chance with it yet.
Yeah, getting a lot of love, and I just wanted to point it out because it is doing a lot, very well compared to what people were trying to say when people fell off. It's like, yeah, when people beat the game, they stopped playing it. But like, I turned my buddy Matt onto it. He's on like his 3rd playthrough for it. And he's like, dude, thanks for showing me this game. It's awesome. But Black Myth Wukong sold 20 million copies in its first month, making it a top-selling game of 2024. The game's focus on massive boss fights sets it apart from the Soul genre it is frequently compared to. A rumored future Xbox release and DLC plans may boost sales even further. Now,
it's not even rumored; it's confirmed.
It's confirmed, but because this is from September 26th, so last month. 20 million copies is extremely impressive for a brand new IP, brand new game that wasn't sure if it was going to do well, and it's doing fantastic. So I have it. Me and Cian bought it on PS5. I'm going to keep playing it. I took a pause from it to play a couple other things, but as much as I played it, it's a lot of fun. So easily Astrobot and Final Fantasy VII, but Black Myth is the game I would say to keep an eye on. So as far as the Game of the Year predictions go, you think Astro over Metaphor? Is it fair to say both of those will be on the list?
I think for sure.
And I got an outside chance that Black Myth Wukong might actually make it on that list, but who do you think would take it at the moment?
I think Metaphor really came out swinging, so I think
I feel like I'm not hearing enough about Metaphor. Everyone that's playing it saying it's awesome, but I'm not seeing the love on Twitter and Instagram and stuff that's Astrobot's being like shoved everywhere. So I just hope
it might be.
I just hope nobody's gonna forget about Metaphor because I kind of forgot about it until you mentioned it.
I was gonna say I don't even think it'd be Final Fantasy VII. I think it'll be between. I was gonna say I think it'd be between like Metaphor or Astrobot. I think Astrobot though might be the kind of the runaway.
Yeah, so
this was so unexpected.
So unexpected indeed. So guys, leave down below your thoughts on Game of the Year and what's the best game you've been playing. So that, guys, is it for episode 204. Be sure to join us next time on episode 205. My name is Craig Perales. This handsome fellow is Mandrew Montemayor. And until next time, guys, cheers.
Happy Halloween.